From our overnight stay in Injune, we headed for the Mount Moffat section of Carnarvon National Park. The distance from Injune via Wombleback Station is approximately 160 kilometres on a mix of narrow bitumen and gravel roads. The weather didn't look at all promising, as low clouds hung over the distant hills. The last thing we wanted was wet conditions, as some of the more interesting tracks in the park are dry weather only. By the time we reached the Mount Moffat Road turn-off at Womblebank, the weather was looking much more promising. We found a sandy section and assumed that the bitumen had run out, but it turned out to be a sand drift across the road. A little further on though, it was gravel from then on. While we had a brief stop, a small herd of inquisitive horses came over to check us out. We were travelling through a cattle property, so we also had to watch out for cattle that found the new fresh growth beside the road particularly inviting. About 25 kilometres before the park entrance is a slab hut, which was originally the living quarters for stockmen working at the Warong homestead. It has been restored in recent times and would offer shelter and a fireplace in bad weather. Firewood must be collected before entering the park if you're planning on having a campfire, and you'll also need to supply your own drinking water. Now into the national park, we travelled the 10 kilometres to the Darganelli Rockhole camping ground. The spacious campground is situated beside Morong Creek and its permanent rock pools. After setting up camp, we headed out to explore some of the features of the southern section of the park. There are many naturally sculpted sandstone outcrops. The most accessible is Cathedral Rock, which is only a few metres from the road and car park. From the Cathedral Rock car park and visitor information board, a 6 kilometre circuit walk takes in more features of the park. The first of these is the Looking Glass or Spyglass, a pillar with a hole eroded through it. There is also a smaller version standing right beside the track. The track then meanders through open bushland to a basalt-capped sandstone cliff called the Tombs. Within the overhang are more than 400 mainly stencilled images, ranging from a variety of hands to kangaroo feet and a woomera. The natural tunnels at the base of the shelter formed burial chambers for the local Aboriginal people. Skeletons were wrapped and bound in ornately decorated bark burial cylinders. By the early 1900s, the site had been stripped, leaving little evidence of the elaborate mortuary culture. The towering pillars, named the chimneys, are hard to miss, even when looking into the late afternoon sun. Remnants of a basalt layer cap help to slow the erosion process of the 3 sandstone pillars. They were a truly amazing sight as we saw them at their colourful best against the clear blue Queensland sky. We now had a full day to explore further sections of the park. Our aim was to head straight for the High Country Drive and then visit more geological features on the way back to camp. Mount Moffat was a former beef grazing property. The property was purchased by Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service in 1979. The Mount Moffat Run was first taken up in 1867. The rough terrain made a difficult country to work on, and ownership of the run changed hands a number of times after 1900. The Waldron family took up Mount Moffat Station in 1939 and built the family homestead that is now the current ranger's residence. A comprehensive history of the area is given in the information hut. When we hit the 4-wheel drive only track, we couldn't get over how green everything was. We were travelling in March, and that seemed to be a good time of the year to visit the park. Of the 57 types of mammals that have been recorded here, there are 7 species of kangaroo and wallaby. Grey kangaroos and redneck wallabies can be seen in the open woodlands alongside the creeks. (172) species of birds have also been recorded. Clusters of large cycads, known as macrozamia, can be found amongst the grassy understory. At the Kenneth Drive turnoff, we kept right onto the High Country Drive. Kenneth Drive leads to the haunt of Australia's last known bushrangers, the Kenneth brothers, who murdered a police constable and a station manager. At the Rotary Shed campsite, there was a great view with Mount Moffat Peak on the horizon. While taking in the view, we had a close but friendly encounter with a lace monitor. The track continued to climb through the vibrant green kangaroo grass, with some sections quite steep. We are now climbing to the highest elevated plateau in Queensland, the Consuelo Tableland. Top Shelter Shed is the name given to this picnic area and lookout. We spent some time here having a break and enjoying the breathtaking view. Back down on the Marlong Plain, we rejoined the circuit drive. The giant monolith named Lot's Wife is just a few metres off the road up a sandy track. As it stands alone, it is easy to walk right around for a closer look. On one side, the harder outer crust is breaking down, allowing the softer inner sandstone to weather away. We set off for Kookaburra Cave along a 1.7 kilometre return nature walk. A viewing platform is accessed via a flight of stairs and through a squeaky gate. Under the overhang there is a myriad of stencils and scratchings, with a unique stencil in the form of a kookaburra. The last sandstone feature we visited was the Marlong Arch. Just a short walk from the circuit road, this stunning feature spans two ridges. It's hard to imagine how the erosion process could result in such a perfect arch. Below the rather delicate structure, layers of the softer sandstone have been sculpted into wave patterns. After only leaving our footprints, we headed back to camp. We had only allowed ourselves 2 nights to explore this section of the park and had seen all that we had come to see. But it would have been easy to spend more time in this wonderful Queensland National Park.